Are you sick of feeling stuck in the cycle of overdrinking and regret? Wondering if your anxiety or depression is tied to your drinking? I get it. I've been there. As a former weekend binge drinker turned alcohol freedom coach, I know how frustrating it is to feel trapped and not know how to break free. I'm Maureen Bankovich, founder of SoberFitChick Coaching, and you're listening to Sober Fit Life. So if you're ready to ditch the hangovers and finally feel your best, physically, mentally, and emotionally, you're in the right place. Get inspired by real stories from people who've regained their energy and joy by kicking alcohol to the curb. Plus, hear from health and fitness experts who share practical tips and science-backed insights to help you thrive alcohol-free. Ready for a fresh start? Let's get sober fit. Have you ever Googled, am I an alcoholic? Me too. And here's the thing, it's not a helpful question. Those quizzes just slap on a label. Yes, you are. No, you're not. But what if it's not about the label and more about how drinking actually makes you feel? That's why I created Am I Drinking Too Much? It's the quiz I wish had existed when I was searching. No scare tactics, no rock bottom required. You'll get your results and a free guide that explains gray area drinking, plus 3 science-backed strategies to reduce or interrupt cravings. Take it at SoberFitChick.com/MI. That's MI, as in, am I drinking too much? SoberFitChick.com/MI. Hey everybody, welcome back to Sober Fit Life. I am so excited for my guest today. You know, sometimes I just meet somebody that is the epitome of Sober Fit Life, or my coaching business, SoberFitChick. And this is one SoberFitChick that I'm going to introduce you to. So this is Laney Dimezza. She is currently a certified personal trainer whose story is such a powerful example of what can happen when we stop outsourcing our confidence, our health, and our identity to alcohol. Laney was a national championship athlete in cheer. We're going to hear about that as a child. But like so many women, her path shifted in high school as she tried to fit in. Alcohol became part of the picture, and over time, her health and fitness moved to the back burner. So similar to my story, except for the cheer part. After decades of drinking and years of trying to moderate, Laney made the decision to stop drinking, to reclaim her life and rebuild her body right as she was entering perimenopause. Today, she has transformed from what she described as skinny fat to lean, strong, and confident. And now she helps other women build strength and take back control of their health. So we're going to talk all about alcohol, identity, perimenopause, fitness, strength training, and what it looks like to become someone who no longer needs alcohol to fit in, to cope, or feel confident. So Laney, welcome so much to Sober Fit Life. Thank you for being here.
Thank you so much for having me. It's truly an honor to be selected to be on your show. This is fantastic.
Yeah, and this is one Sober Fit Chick. When I met her, I'm like, wow, look at those muscles. So I really can appreciate this. Laney, could you start with, you mentioned you were a national championship athlete as a child. Take us back to that version of you. Who was Laney before alcohol became part of the picture?
Sure. Okay. So back in 1991, and I'm kind of dating myself here, but I grew up in Sunnyvale, California, and I was a part of the Pop Warner Youth Athletic Association, which did tackle football and competitive cheer. So my team, the Rockets, we won first place at nationals, and it was a pivotal life experience for me. So there were so many things. I mean, we hear about team sports for children and how important they are. And I mean, this was it for me. And this set the trajectory for my life as far as good work ethic, willpower, sticking with something, and really just giving something my all. And, we weren't performing for our parents. We were flying across country, competing against all of these other teams in our age brackets in the nation. So
what a cool
it was
experience.
A big deal.
Yeah, what a cool experience as a young child. I asked Laney, I said, was she the one on the top of the pyramid? Were you?
Of course. Yes. I stand at only 5'1", and I'm a very petite woman in stature. So I was always the one on top or close to it.
That takes a lot of courage, though, and a lot of strength. So, and then you shared that things started to shift in high school. So even though you're this motivated kid, you're a go-getter, you're part of this team,
Mhm.
alcohol came into your life. You felt like you were struggling to fit in. When did that start? What do you remember about that?
Right. So after I aged out of the program,
Mm.
I started high school. And I think that, especially in middle school and high school, we all struggle to fit in. But I was just this really bubbly kid, and I had that golden retriever energy. And it just, I was overeager and I just wanted to fit in, and I wasn't fitting in. So I did things to try and help myself fit
Hmm.
in, and being part of the cool club, the cool kids, getting the older boyfriend, doing the things that I wasn't supposed to do, being the rebel. It all fit into how I wanted to see myself as somebody that was cool.
Yeah, and you mentioned that you went at your drinking as hard as you did as a cheerleader. So
Oh,
can
yeah,
you
from the
talk
beginning.
about that? You're like, if I'm going to do it, I'm all in.
Yes, well, hey, I'm an overachiever. I'm a
Yes.
go-getter. So I, applied those same principles to the partying,
Yeah.
and that continued,
Hmm.
not just after high school, but then into my 20s.
Right.
And it wasn't until I became a mom that it was like, okay, let's slow down again. But then you've got the mommy wine culture that
Yeah,
comes into
talk about
play
the
there
mommy wine
too.
culture a little bit. So now you've transisted into a mom, and alcohol's been with you all along, but you're starting to
Mm-hmm.
think about it a little bit, but yet you're influenced again by another peer group, the mommy wine culture.
Right, sure. And we go into TJ Maxx and we see all of these signs that are all over the place, mommy's juice, and you can't have just one, and all of these little memes that are
Right?
these home decor things. And
Hmm.
so it's consistently fed into your brain that this is okay.
Point. It was consistently fed into your brain. And this is something I talk about all the time, where I ask my clients to give themselves grace and compassion, because we are inundated with external messages from marketing, from the big alcohol industry. Those memes, those funny napkins in TJ Maxx are not by accident. And you just nailed it. We were fed that into our brain. So I love that you pointed that out, that you recognize that.
Absolutely. And so when that's what you're hearing
Hmm.
every day, and you're making that decision at 5 o'clock in the evening after you've just done all of the things that you need to do as a mom and a wife and a career woman and everything else, you're going to feel like this is what I deserve. I deserve a bottle of wine at the end of the
Hmm.
day because that's what you've been told all day.
And when did it shift from I deserve this to sort of going, maybe this is too much. I need to change, but I don't know how. When did that start to happen for you?
That was a slow shift for
Hmm.
me. I want to say that it was about 2019 that I really started seeing how fat I was getting. And I hate using that term,
You were
but
gaining weight. You were
I was
unhappy with your
gaining weight.
physique.
Right,
Hmm.
right.
Sure.
Um, and I was starting to not be able to control how much I was drinking. So going into situations where I was like, okay, I'm only going to have this many, or I'm going to start at this time and then I'm going to stop at this time.
Yeah.
And it never happened.
So you're
It was
making all
like
these
that off
rules,
switch was
right?
broken.
You're making
Mhm.
all these rules, and then you're stepping over your own lines, and you're saying the off switch. There was no off switch. You and I are telling the same story. I relate to all of this. So yes, right. And then you start to wonder, and you feel bad about it. You're thinking, what's wrong with me?
Right, right. And there's so much guilt and so much
Mm-hmm.
shame. And especially that guilt when you wake up in the morning and you go into the kitchen and you see that empty bottle and you're like, ooh, yikes, I did that. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and it plays on repeat. It's the
Yeah.
detox to retox cycle that you get yourself stuck
Yes.
in, and that's the nature of alcohol.
Yeah. That's right. Creates a desire for itself. Now, were you also, working out to try to make up for it. You're thinking, well, at least I'm showing up, at least I'm sweating it out, at least I'm eating right.
Those boxes were being checked.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Yes. And it's funny because they kind of coincide with each other.
Yes.
And that when I started realizing that there was the overconsumption problem, that's when I really dialed up the notch
Mm,
on the fitness to make sure that those boxes were being checked.
right. Sort of yourself trying to work out harder, but still drinking. Did you realize
Mhm.
that nothing was changing? What happened?
So I realized that nothing was changing and that nobody was going to make those changes except for me.
Yeah.
And that's when the wheels really started turning. And that's when the moderation really started to be more prevalent
Mm-hmm.
in the fact that I was trying to play these games with myself.
Right.
Like, okay, I've got 52 weeks a year. Let me just give myself 1 day a week your week to drink. So I'm only drinking 52 times a year. It was just crazy stuff. It
Yeah.
was ridiculous.
All the planning, all the mental gymnastics around drinking.
Oh, so much.
Yeah. And
Yes.
so
And
so what did you like when did you say I'm done? I wanted something to change. And I know you found coaching, but when did you seek that out? When did you say I need to get some guidance? And how did that
mhm.
come about?
So I think that that came about with COVID because
Mm.
COVID created this atmosphere where it was okay to for everybody else to drink the
Oh
way
yeah.
that I wanted to drink. And so I really just came out with a bang. And it was like, okay, from March when we first got shut down, by the time late May rolled around, I was like, I need something.
Right.
So I had started listening to sober podcasts.
Mm-hmm.
And it was then that I found that there are alternatives to your standard programs that you've
Right.
heard about all of your life. There's alternatives to AA. And through these podcasts, I was introduced into this sort of fitness rehabilitative lifestyle
Okay.
instead of as an alternative to the AA groups, which, I was really kind of turned off by the whole religious aspect
Mm-hmm.
of AA. I knew that wasn't for me. So when I was introduced to the fitness side of this, I was like, bingo,
That
that's
was
it.
your language.
That's, yes, that is what I want to do.
Well, I want to go back to when you said you started to listen to podcasts because you use this most interesting phrase, and I love it. You talked about changing and shaping your own algorithm by controlling
Yes.
your inputs, and one of those was podcasts. Can you talk more about that?
Absolutely. So, one of the things that's going around in social media right now that I absolutely just love is that when you would like to be successful, you surround yourself with four other successful
Mm,
people, and you are going to be the fifth. So that's what I
love
did.
that.
I surrounded myself. I just like infiltrated myself in everything that I wanted to hear to make myself better. So in the mornings when I was taking my dog for a walk, I was listening to recovery podcasts.
Mm-hmm.
When I decided I want to listen to a book instead, I chose a book that wasn't necessarily like it could have still been a fictional book, but the main characters were getting sober.
Right.
So it was just this complete immersion into sober life.
You really filtered everything through your decision to want to have a sober lifestyle. And I often share that with people. Everything has to get filtered through. If you want to make this change, you have to ask yourself, is this going to this party going to affect my sober lifestyle that I'm trying to live, my alcohol free lifestyle?
Mhm.
Is that the best thing for
Right.
me right now? Or watching this show about everybody's drinking on there consistently and I'm watching that every night? Is that what I want to put in my brain? And so your
Mhm.
phrase changing and shaping your algorithm is so perfect, such a great description, and you
Thank
lived
you.
it. You did it.
Right. And even on your social media feed.
Mhm.
I mean, your social media feed is based on what you're talking about, what you're inputting,
Yes.
the reels that you're watching, the reels that you're liking. So you can literally shift your social media algorithm to show it what you want to see. So do that.
Yeah.
Start liking the sober things. Dump all, stop following all of those um, drunk people
Right. Who
reels
are
that you're
glamorizing
seeing.
being drunk.
Right. And start following some influential
Mm-hmm.
people that are out there talking about their experiences with sobriety, how it changed their life,
Yeah.
and follow the tips that they're giving you. So that was extremely beneficial
So
for me.
smart. So smart. I have a question for you. So, in this effort to surround yourself with successful people, people who weren't focusing on alcohol, did you find that you had to let go of some people and some places or things that you used to do?
That is a great question. So ultimately, yes.
Mhm.
There, we used to walk over to our neighbor's house every Friday night and hang with everybody. And they were, smoking and drinking and just having a great time. And I tried it a few times and it was fine. I showed up with my non-alcoholic drinks, my mocktails, my beers.
Right.
I had a good time, but there was a certain point in the night where I no longer was having a good time
Hmm.
because everybody else was becoming intoxicated.
Right.
And it wasn't that I wanted to be there
Hmm.
because I was resolved with my own situation and my own decision. But it was that these people really aren't as fun
Yeah.
as I thought they were.
Yeah. Once you've removed yourself from drinking, you start to see it differently. If you were immersed in it with them, you weren't seeing it or feeling it. I felt the same thing. And then I got better at drawing boundaries like, okay, I'm going to go to this party early, but I'm probably going to leave by, 9 o'clock or something like
Right.
that. Did you find the same thing for you?
Yes, and I think that also it just, drawing boundaries was definitely,
Hmm.
even just saying no and flat out not
Yep.
going was very important. But going back to that, like I think part of what alcohol does is it lowers your inhibitions and it makes you feel connected to other people. So, what are we really seeking when we're going out
So good.
drinking with our friends and neighbors? We're seeking that connection with other humans. And so, it was not only eliminating that situation where you're drinking and trying to find those connections with other people. It's let's create these new connections with people over here at the gym. Let's find a different community
Hmm.
where those connections are not going to be based on alcohol, but they're actually going to be based on true human
Right.
connection and experiences.
Yeah.
And that's why, another reason why I promoted the gym
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
finding your community within the gym.
Exactly. And I love that. And because the truth is, are you really connecting when you're drinking alcohol? Is it a
Not
connector, or the more drinks we have, are we really all there and truly connecting? Maybe the next day you don't even remember the conversations,
that
right?
that's
So,
exactly what I was about to bring up
yeah,
is it really a connection if you can't remember what you connected on?
right. So now you've found this tribe, and we're going to get to your place. We definitely want to get to that.
Yes.
But you have said so many clever things when we met and started talking. And you said rock bottom is simply when you stop digging. And I, again, just love that. Can you tell me how that phrase came into being your phrase, your mantra?
Sure. Well, it is song lyrics, so I do have to give credit where credit is due,
Yeah.
where I heard them. But I think that gray area drinking looks different for
Hmm.
everybody. And now I did not drink myself into a homeless situation. I
Right.
did not drink myself into financial peril. I did not ruin my marriage. I am still a great mother. So it doesn't have to look like that for everybody. And you don't have to be at the depths of your despair to make a decision to change.
Yes.
You have to just pay attention to the things in your life that you don't want to have happen
Hmm.
anymore. One of the biggest things was that detox to retox cycle. I was so disappointed in myself every time
Yes.
I made that trip to the liquor store at 5 p.m.
Yeah. So you were
So
being
um,
aware. You were no longer mindlessly drinking. You really started to think, is this in alignment with my values and who I want to be and how I want to show up? And I think it's so
and
important
how
what
I
you're
want to
saying,
look.
how you want to look. Absolutely. And
Yeah.
and I think this is important, everything you're saying, because you were still running a business, a mom, showing up, doing all the things. And a lot of people get hung up on because we've been conditioned to think that unless you hit a rock bottom that looks like what we see in the movies, you've lost everything, then there's no reason to reevaluate your relationship with alcohol. But you're saying, and you got this from these song lyrics and really lived it, rock bottom is simply when you stop digging. Like, why do we think
Mhm.
we have to keep digging to rock bottom before we need to reevaluate? And you flipped that and you said, I don't
Right.
need to keep going. I can stop now and make some changes.
Right. And I
Yeah.
was seeing some people crumble around me,
Mm-hmm.
their lives crumble. We even actually lost a friend
Mm,
to alcoholism. And it was just watching all of this going on and saying, like, this is where it stops.
right.
This is where I take control of my future. Because, and this is, you had asked about, the mantra.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yes.
one of the things that I kept playing through my brain was I'm just not giving up. The woman that I'm going to be in a few years from now is counting on me.
Yeah. Oh, so good.
And nobody else is going to do this work for me.
Yeah.
I have to do this now, or I'm going to dig myself deeper because each week was a deeper dig.
Oh,
Even if I wasn't drinking as much, I mean, that's how alcoholism or alcohol works.
right. It creates a desire for itself and it acts
Right.
on your
And
brain chemistry and it changes your brain chemistry to want more and need more. I
mhm,
love what you just said. Um, and you talked about, you made this change during entering perimenopause. And that would
did.
be a challenging time. And I think our audience would love to hear that because a lot of people get stuck on, well, I need to be drinking right now because I feel so terrible, or I'm, this is my comfort. This is how I relax. I can't relax because perimenopause is a tough time to be in life. And I'm in menopause, so I can tell you it doesn't get any better. But can you talk about how you made that change during perimenopause and why that sort of stood out for you?
Sure. Well, when you're in the throes of perimenopause and your drinking career, you don't want to actually admit that your mood swings could be because of the alcohol too. And
Hmm.
they're just exacerbated by these hormonal changes. And it wasn't until I got to the other side of
That's important.
sobriety
Hmm.
that I realized, whoa, okay, these mood swings aren't as bad when my body is regulated.
Oh, does everybody hear that?
So,
That is so key. That is so key. Yes. You had better
yeah,
emotional regulation. You were noticing that.
better emotional regulation. We hear about waking up at 3 o'clock in the morning in perimenopause because of these sleep cycle irregularities. Well, guess what's contributing to that sleep
That's
cycle
right.
irregularity when you're drinking, when
Yeah.
those alcohol sugars wear off and you're up, and everybody tells you, oh, you're going to sleep so much better after you quit drinking. And this is really funny because
Hmm.
this happened to me and I didn't expect it. Like, okay, so we hear, yes, you're going to sleep better. And yes, that happened. But what I did not expect was that I would sleep better and so good, I could not wake up in the morning.
Oh, you couldn't wake
And
up.
nobody warned me about that when I stopped drinking. It's like they say, oh, you're going to sleep so good. You're going to wake up with all of this energy. No, I could have slept until noon that first month, maybe even the first like 8 weeks in
Yeah,
the
I think
mornings were
in the
really
first
tough.
month to 8 weeks, your body's healing and you actually need that sleep. And did you find over time, even that started changing, became an early morning riser naturally? Yeah, that is usually the path it goes.
Yeah, it regulates. You shift out of that, you move on from that stage. But that was definitely something
There's a
I
lot
didn't
of
expect.
recalibration that's going on in your body when you remove alcohol. It's not instant that you have instant better sleep, or instantly
Mhm.
you lose weight, or instantly your gut gets better if that was a problem during drinking. This takes time because alcohol is damaging and your body's been trying to counteract it all these years, decades. So
Mhm.
it takes time. So it makes sense
Yep.
those first 8 weeks you were sleeping hard because your body was healing. But after that, you started to regulate and calibrate and probably became, like I said, an early morning person, which I was so surprised when that happened to me.
Yeah. And going to bed early too.
Yeah.
Well, in all honesty, I used to go to bed at 8:30 at night because I would drink too much and pass out. And now I go to in bed at 8:30, 9 o'clock at night because I want to,
Because you want to.
because I want to get my sleep. I want to wake up in the morning. I want to go to the gym. I want to, get my day started much more easily.
So let's talk about skinny fat to lean and strong and going to the gym. And I know you want to give a shout out to your specific gym. So let's talk about all that. You start going to the gym, you're being dedicated to that, you're finding your tribe there. What did that look like going from skinny fat to lean and strong and eventually a personal trainer?
Right. So, what I always like to say is that consistency beats intensity every single time.
You are full of these good sayings.
You know, just showing up. There was that big overlap, of course, when I was still drinking, when I had started showing up to the gym, although we all know the physiology of that. I was not getting the gains that I really should have been at the time because the alcohol was preventing my body from performing and, doing what it needed to do to build
muscle
that muscle.
protein synthesis. Yeah.
Sure. So there was that overlap, but then of course, once I stopped drinking, then I really started seeing the gains at that point. And
can you tell for audience what do you mean by gains?
Okay, so gains meaning that the size of my muscle was increasing at the same time that my body fat percentage was decreasing.
You were
so
getting
giving
lean.
you that lean, toned look.
Yes.
Now, a lot of women say, I don't want to bulk, and they come to me as far as fitness, and we can get into how my sobriety led to me becoming a certified personal trainer. But I hear a lot of my female clients say, I don't want to bulk. Don't worry, you're not going to. I've been trying to for years. It's a process.
Right.
But again, the consistency is so important when you're just starting out.
Yeah. And when you're drinking, that interferes with your consistency because sometimes you're hungover and sometimes, you don't feel good. Right. So you found a big difference in your consistency. And then when we removed alcohol, the consistency just really starts to get like a natural thing. And you want to go there. You want to work out. You want to show up 100%.
And your brain is not foggy in the morning and you can really dial in and make sure that you're doing every exercise to its fullest potential.
Right. Not just checking a box.
Correct.
Yeah. I used to show up with my trainer and I would smell like alcohol.
Wow.
Yeah. And we had this talk later that he told me, he's like, you weren't fooling anybody. I thought I was, but no. And I couldn't wait to get home and just lay down because I felt horrible. Instead of being energized or feeling accomplished, it was like, okay, at least I did that.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And I think that's where a lot of women are stuck. But so you started to see these gains yourself.
Yes.
And then you were gaining confidence in the gym. Now you've got a tribe there. What is the name of your gym?
Royal Fitness. It's in Barrington, New Jersey. I love it. I've been a member there since 2007. So, 19 years. And it just has created a fantastic sense of community. And that's really what I recommend to people and women that are getting started is build your community within the gym. Because when you build your community within the gym, when you make friends in your gym, you are building accountability. Because when you don't show up to either the Pilates class or, whatever you're doing, if somebody is used to seeing you on a daily basis, they're like, hey, where have you been? And it provides you with that encouragement to get there. And knowing that you're going to see friends when you go.
Yeah.
So
now there is that contingent in the gym, I will say, as a former fitness instructor. And I was one of these people who'd be leading the class and saying, hey, you can work off your wine, or hey, you can sweat it out now so you can go to happy hour. I mean, obviously I've changed my verbiage, but there is still that contingent in the gym, right? Or after you do a 5K, what's always at the finish line? Beer, alcohol,
There.
right? So there is still that in the fitness world. The whole detox, retox cycle is very prevalent there. So finding your tribe that is more in line with your way of thinking too, just to further hone it down.
Right. The funny thing about Royal Fitness is back in the 80s, there was a bar in the gym.
How times have changed. Oh my gosh.
Yes. But you're absolutely right.
Mm-hmm.
But where do you go in America that you're not finding alcohol mixed in with societal norms?
Nowhere. It's
Nowhere.
everywhere. It is everywhere. And you bring such a good point up. I was coaching a client recently. She said, well, I'm going to my child's school fair. And so there probably won't be alcohol there because we were talking about making a plan. I said, just assume there will be alcohol everywhere, even at a kid's art fair. And sure enough, she called me that night. She said, you're never going to believe there was like a tree of champagne glasses for the adults to get. Yes, it's everywhere. So you are 100% right. We
Mhm.
can't hide, right? We can't isolate. We just need to know what we want for ourselves, what you want. Like you said, you knew it was interfering with your values. So you made a decision, no matter when you're surrounded by alcohol, that you didn't want to have it anymore.
Right. And that came from immersing myself
Mm-hmm.
into the quit literature, the podcasts,
Yes.
everything, and friends too. Just listening to my friends that were getting sober because there were a lot of people that I was running into, clients. You know, I'm a photographer
Mm-hmm.
full time, so I specialize in real estate photography. And I had run into one of my agents who I had even vacationed with years prior to. So she and I were friends. I had not seen her in a while and she looked fantastic. I said, oh my gosh, Deidre, what are you doing? She's like, I quit drinking. I haven't been drinking for 7 months. Oh my gosh, that's amazing. Like,
Yeah.
there was inspiration there.
I love
So
the
just
enthusiasm too, that she said, I quit drinking. And, she's saying it.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and really just then making sure that I'm gravitating towards her a
Mm-hmm.
little bit more,
Yes.
and
And
just really just feeding off of the energy of those people around
100%.
you.
You're right. If you
Hmm.
surround yourself with 5 people that are drinking every night, you'll get pulled in that direction. If you surround yourself with people who are working out, who are fitness focused, who are nutrition oriented, who want to get better. And I also love how you said you thought about your future self, who are thinking future forward. What do I want my next 5 years to look like in my 60s, 70s? That was such a
Right,
great perspective shift that you mentioned. I wanted to bring that up.
right.
You also mentioned you had a mantra, a phrase. Can you share that?
Yes. That was actually the one that we had talked about,
Okay.
in that I'm just not giving up. The woman that I'm
Yeah.
going to be in a few years is
The
counting
future
on
self
me.
thinking. Okay.
Yes. Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, so and that was on repeat. I mean, that was actually on my phone wallpaper because every time I went into my phone, I wanted to see that and just have that as a reminder that nobody's going to do this. You need to do this.
Yeah.
And that, that was also in not only with the stopping drinking, but that rolled over into the fitness lifestyle too, because you are not going to be in the health that you want to be
That's
at
right.
if you don't make it to the gym. If you give up now,
Mm-hmm.
you're not going to have those muscles.
That's
You're
right.
not going to, you're going to be the woman in the nursing home that's in the wheelchair. And I don't want to
Yes.
be that person for my child. I don't want to be that person for my spouse. And I want to live a long and healthy life.
Ah, I love that. So did you, in your future self vision, when you first started thinking that way, envision she would become a personal trainer who's inspiring other women?
No, no, it was not on the radar whatsoever. But I seem to have a habit of turning all of my passions into work, which is
Yes.
great because, when you love what you do, you don't
Mm-hmm.
work a day in your life. But then you're also turning things that are passions into careers. So you're always working then at that point.
That's right.
But no, you know what? It wasn't until I got sober and then I had the time
Mm-hmm.
because I wasn't drinking. So I had the time to study and do all of the work that was required to get the certification to become the personal trainer.
Yeah.
And
Let me
really
just focus
just,
on what you said because
yeah,
that's huge. We don't realize until we're on the other side of alcohol how much thinking about drinking, planning around drinking, feeling bad about our drinking, how much time it actually took. And you just said something so key. Once you stopped drinking, you had time to do this accomplishment, to study and to get a certification and reach your goal of being a personal trainer. We don't realize until we're on the other side of alcohol how much time it actually took up, right?
Right.
Yeah. It's not just like the moments when you're imbibing, it's all the thought process around it before and after and the angst and everything. So you remove that and you freed up all this mental real estate to focus on being a personal trainer.
Right. And the planning and the money too.
The money. Yeah.
You know, I have a counter that counts my days and my productivity hours and everything like that, including the money that I've saved. I've saved over $15,000 in a matter of 620 days of not drinking.
Wow.
Yeah.
$15,000.
Yeah, what could you do with $15,000?
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
You've
That is a
done
lot of spa
so many
days.
smart things, so many accountability things, and this helps motivate you, right? To see that, to see how much money you have saved.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Big motivating factor is to see the progression of how far have I come. And it's not just getting there and then looking back like, oh, yeah, I've come a long ways. It's being able to see that and do that check-in on a regular basis, because that keeps you going.
Yes. Yeah. Well, I've done exactly what you said. I've turned my passion for helping other people, realize they can change their relationship with alcohol into a business. And I love it. I do love it. You're right. It doesn't feel like work to me because I love meeting people like you and having people have aha moments and seeing that they can be empowered and change their life and reach goals that they never even thought about before. So you were just an amazing
100%.
embodiment of SoberFitChick. I love it.
Thank you.
I wanted to ask you, because you asked me about this. What did you find was the unexpected result of getting sober, of ditching booze?
There's been so many. I mean, well, the one thing that I really found that was unexpected was that sleeping in that we had discussed. But just having the time, having the money, and just losing the brain fog was one of the biggest things. And you don't know when you're in it that you're experiencing that brain fog, but once your head clears up, that was a big thing for me.
Yeah, a lot of times, especially in perimenopause or menopause, women are like, well, this brain fog is just part of where I am in this stage of life. But really, the alcohol is a massive contributor to that. So that was one of the things that surprised you, that you didn't have to live with that.
Right. I didn't realize it was really even occurring at the time. And so when it lifted, I was like, and of course it wasn't an overnight thing. But it was a delightful surprise.
Yeah. I'm almost 5 years now. I still have ahas and surprises and things I look on and think, oh, I'm so glad I'm not drinking anymore. It still amazes me. Yeah, you have such a motivational story. I love that you're showing women that alcohol freedom is not just about what you remove, but it's about what you rebuild. I mean, you are a living example of that.
Thank you.
Yeah. So I like to always end my podcast, and I think I kind of know, but what do you do, Laney, to be sober fit in your life? And that could be physical, mental, emotional, all of it. What do you do now to be sober fit?
Lift heavy.
Lift heavy.
Yes. And especially with women in the age group that I'm at, perimenopause, it's so important for us to be lifting heavy weights, resistance training, these 2, 3, 5-pound dumbbells, throw those away. Let's get in the gym. Let's create some stronger bone density, some more skeletal muscle. Let's keep our bodies intact, feeling young, looking young, and prevent ourselves from, feeling old.
Prematurely aging. Alcohol is one of the major prematurely aging factors that we can remove. We have a choice. And then it opens up a whole nother world for you. Well, you mentioned your photography. Can you tell us a little bit about that? It's with drones, right? Is that what you do?
Yeah.
That is cool.
Yeah, so I am a photographer. I specialize in real estate photography. So I'm also a licensed drone pilot. And I just really offer all things real estate related, which has served me great.
Mm,
Especially when I was raising my son, nobody gets married on a Tuesday. So real estate photographer was a perfect fit for
interesting.
me. And going into people's homes and helping them stage and get ready and just really helping them make a life transition. It's not just the fitness that I do that
Yeah.
with. It's also the photography because I'm helping somebody make a life transition that as well.
Oh, I love that. That is so interesting. And so, do you find you're even now more efficient and better in your photography and running your business now on the other side of alcohol?
Oh,
Hmm.
100%. I can make it up the stairs like this, where, with all of my gear in hand.
Oh,
Whereas before I found myself huffing and puffing and, grunting and groaning as I'm trying to haul everything. It's just a lot easier for me
yeah.
these days.
It really is easier just not drinking, I think. Just
Hmm.
saying, no, I don't drink anymore. And it feels very empowering. Do you find that to be the case?
Very empowering. And, very empowering being able to go somewhere and know that I am not going to make a fool of myself.
Oh, yeah. That is
I'm
very
going
freeing.
somewhere and knowing that I'm going to be able to drive myself home.
Yes. Yes. All these benefits. You are
So many.
incredibly inspiring, beautiful, fit, strong, smart. I love everything you're sharing. I'm so glad we met. We were introduced by a mutual friend, and I thank you so much for coming on. If you live in New Jersey, can you tell Laney where you are a personal trainer if people want to come find you?
Yes. So I train at Smart Bodies in Marlton.
Okay.
And you can find me on Instagram, Laney Dimezza, and just reach me there as far as personal training sessions. But if you're just looking to hang out and have a friend, you can find me at Royal Fitness in Barrington.
Royal Fitness in Barrington. And also your photography is again, can you say the name?
Yes, it's laneylanephotography.com. You can go to my website and you can reach out to me there.
Okay. Anything else you want to share with our Sober Fit Life audience, Laney?
Maureen, thank you so much for having me. There's nothing else. You covered everything. This is such a pleasure being interviewed by you.
I'm so glad we met. Thank you, Laney, for being a sober fit chick.
Oh, thank you.
Thanks for listening to Sober Fit Life. If this conversation gave you a little nudge, a little hope, or a fresh perspective on alcohol, follow Sober Fit Life for more honest, shame-free conversations that help you question the role alcohol is playing in your life without labels, shame, or judgment. And if you know someone who's quietly questioning their relationship with alcohol, share this episode with them. Sometimes one conversation can help someone feel less alone and remind them that change is possible. And if you're starting to wonder where alcohol fits in your own life, take my free quiz, Am I Drinking Too Much? At SoberFitChick.com/Am I quiz. You don't need a label, you don't need a rock bottom, and you don't need to keep waiting for things to get worse before you get curious. I'm Maureen Bankovich, and remember, it's not your fault, it's chemistry, but you are not powerless to change the pattern.